In recent years, Colombia has experienced a growing economy and accelerated development. The internal and external migrations have put a lot of pressure on the main urban hubs of the country. The city of Bogota has reflected this demographic pressure towards the peripheries, where development has accelerated quickly. The municipality of Mosquera, situated at the west of the Bogota metropolitan district, has become an epicenter of urban development. Characterized by its valuable agricultural land and industrial activity, Mosquera is part of the Ramada irrigation district. The complex network of canals that cross the land is the most distinctive feature of the site. The water that flows through the canals of the savanna comes from the Wali Wetlands, in the north and the upper basin of the Bogota River, feeding 5 main canals that run north to south. The collecting canals run from east to west, defining the rural grid that characterizes the site and configuring the savanna as a man-made wetland. The canals also have a severe impact on the mobility of the site. Below Calle 13, which splits the municipality in two, the rural roads alongside the watercourses penetrate into the site, with many dead ends and private bypasses that create a fragmented network. Equally important is the presence of the rivers. The Bogota River, running through the east and the south border of the site, receives the water of the system in its union with the Balsilla River, which defines the west border. Not only the rivers confine the site, but their large floodplains towards the south and the borders create high-risk zones that must be protected. With all this in mind, we generated a global plan consisting of 3 main objectives. First, to protect and recover the ecosystems of the savanna, redefining the relationship of its inhabitants with the water and keeping the agricultural nature of the site. Second, to overcome the lack of connectivity in the municipality, providing a network of corridors and connections within the savanna and the rest of the city to enhance mobility. And finally, to inhabit the savanna in a more horizontal relation with its ecosystems, using water and public space as a catalyzer to dilute segregation and promote new ways of living. In order to achieve these objectives, the already existing features of the site became pivotal in the development of the territorial strategy. Following the main canals, the plan proposed a network of transversal and parallel corridors to help guide development and enhance connectivity. With large protected areas that seek to keep urbanization of the floodplains, development is oriented towards the Calle 13 and the parallel corridors. An agroforestry area in the middle aims to articulate the eastern and western developments while providing room for institutional presence in the area. Having defined a territorial strategy, the visualization to collage helped define the spatial quality of the project. Naturally, the integration of water into public space was a prominent feature of these explorations. Visiting the experience from cities such as Lincoln, Rotterdam, and Houston, we were able to conceptualize a comprehensive strategy surrounding water. An holistic approximation to water became fundamental to achieve a more harmonic way of living in the savanna. Aiming for the spatial qualities of water, each of these strategies breaks down in landscape and architectural techniques. Going beyond traditional notions of infrastructure, this vision aims to create experiences surrounding water, enhancing resilience, sustainability, and recovering the ecosystems of the savanna. These strategies are reduced to 3 operations in the urban morphology of the site: to restrict, to terraces, to embrace with platforms, and to hold with basins.
Before any intervention, Taking a closer look of the morphology of the site was necessary. The self-constructed patches are characterized by their high density and lack of public space. The private developments are usually isolated, with density ranging from high-rise multifamily buildings to country villas. The industrial activity concentrates towards the Calle 13 and the Bogotá River, with agricultural facilities are also spotted in the heart of La Sabana. These activities are usually linked to junkyards, which are prone to spontaneous development. The lack of urban facilities and institutions is also evident, with very few schools and universities scattered in the territory. Incorporating structure into the territory, the mobility system connects pre-existing features and helps to scale down the proposed urbanizations into urban islands. Embracing the patch-like morphology inherent to the agricultural fabric, the foundational urban structure was established. Aiming to create a more interconnected and flexible urban fabric, a secondary mobility armature was defined. Connecting the eccentricities of the patches utilizing the existing features allowed for a parallel and more fragmented structure to balance out the main corridors. The proposed network of corridors seek to enhance connectivity in La Sabana. These corridors adapt the course of the existing canals, creating an interconnected mobility system and defining the different natures of the corridors answer to the conditions of the site and their role within the plan. To have a better understanding of the urban fabric within this structure, we took a closer look to two sectors in the plan. The first sector, located toward the north, aims to explore the transitive conditions between the proposed development and the pre-existing features of the site. The second sector explores the borderline conditions with the proposed urban expansion, where dealing with the existing canals and the higher risk of flooding plays a major role. In the north, developing alongside the west margin of the Bogotá River represents an important flood risk. The border developments, built over terraces, create a physical barrier which conducts runoff water toward the basins in the center of the urban island. The flood prevention system of the site is robust, including a combination of open spaces and urban facilities designed to withstand and absorb water. This system not only reduces the risk of flooding, but also helps to spatially integrate the pre-existing features of the site with the rest of the proposal. A closer look into the urban islands clarifies the morphology of the place. Low-rise buildings create the protected belt of the site, elevating the ground level against the river. The self-constructed habitats take advantage of this protection, developing towards the center of the island. Habitating the new basins, the progressive housing solutions allow for a different alternative for the newcomers of the city, living directly on the water. This diverse urban fabric is complemented by a set of urban facilities and open spaces that are integral to the water infrastructure of the city. This public space system articulates different stages of development, offering gathering points and invaluable open space for the community to interact and get closer to the water. The facilities provide basic services for the communities, with also protecting and playing a major role in the flood prevention system. The urban frontier takes place closer to the southern margin of the Bogotá River, also dealing with high flood risk. In this site, the strategy is similar, creating a flood buffer towards the borders and a network of basins to distribute runoff water. Despite being the same strategy, the different pre-existing conditions allows for a more atomized system, diluting the risk in a more homogeneous way and bringing water deeper into the urban fabric. In the urban fabric, different ways to approaching the water takes place. The communities, cluster-like structure, embrace the medium in different ways, involving productivity and water infrastructure on their core. Also, more grounded developments take place toward the main corridors, creating horizontal experiences toward the mobility system, enhancing interaction. Big promoters of community interactions are the public spaces. Deeply integrated to the urban facilities, these pieces of infrastructure offer different ways to get closer to the water. But the urban facilities fit roles beyond interaction and integration, without leaving behind their role in the water management scheme. These can also become important attractors of activity, promoting development and positioning Mosquera as a new centrality. Once again, articulating these approaches of life alongside water offer a different perspective of the future developments of La Sabana. Learning to preserve this medium is vital for the emerging communities of Mosquera and the recovery of its ecosystems. The development of these strategies aim to offer a possible way for development and the urbanization in such a unique place, embracing and exalting the futures of the site while providing for a setting for healthy and heterogeneous urbanization could be key for the future of La Sabana, with water playing an important role washing away the walls of segregation and inequality.